welcome to Glimpse TV. I am Kate Northrup, and I am here with my dear friend Rochelle Schieck, who's the founder of Qoya, which is an incredible movement form that reminds us that our true essence is wise, wild, and free, and that through movement we remember who we really are. So I am a professional substitute Qoya teacher. From time to time, I will teach a class here in Maine, and I did Rose teacher training in April. And but we've known each other for years, and I think you were first on Glimpse TV in 2010.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. I'm so happy to be back, and I've loved all the episodes I've seen, and I really love all of your work and what you do. Thank you.
Well, it is just my pleasure and honor to promote and put out there things that I believe in that are amazing, like you. So Ro just wrote a book, and it's, well, you didn't just write it, but it just came out. And it's called Qoya. And tell me the subtitle again.
The subtitle is Qoya, Compass for Navigating an Embodied Life that is Wise, Wild, and Free.
So for those who might not be familiar with what the word embodied means, what does that mean to you, and why is it important in life?
For me, it's really interesting because embodiment is really the whole point of life. I feel like it's the one thing that differentiates us from when we're in spirit to when we're alive, which is coming, our spirit incarnating into a body. And so from our first breath to our last, the body is what makes life possible in the human realm. And so for me, it's so interesting when there is a sense of the body that's towards obligation or towards this thing of what you need to do just to get through the day, versus realizing when you really come to appreciate and embrace life that the body is what makes this possible. So this idea of feeling all of life through the body, and the body as your sacred companion for the whole journey.
That's really beautiful. I've never heard it described that way. And you have a pretty amazing story of how Qoya came to be. Can you tell me, you were telling me a little bit last night about how you had been journaling for years, and because I really want to focus on this sacred work piece, because for our listeners, I know that that's an important piece. Also for myself, you know, just becoming a mom, kind of figuring out what my identity is, what is sacred work, what's, you know, my purpose, even though I find that whole conversation a little annoying, to be perfectly honest. But I love the container you've created around sacred work, which is kind of chapter 3 and 4 in the book.
Yes.
Can you talk about how you discovered, or how it discovered you?
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I say I created Qoya, and that feels like not the right way to say it. It's more that Qoya is creating me, but it's obviously, like most things in our lives, like a co-creative relationship. But when it comes to Qoya really coming to life, I was telling Kate last night that I was going through all these journals and I was reading them, and it was like the last 10 years before Qoya came. It was like, I know I'm meant to create something. It's like something to do with yoga, but not something to do with dance, but not something to do with travel, but not. And I just kept following that, you know, alchemist piece of advice, like when you follow your heart, the world conspires on your behalf. And so I just kept following in all these different directions to, you know, get certified in yoga, and then to go to shaman school, and then to take a year off just to practice listening to my intuition and really listen to the wisdom of my body, and to see what it would be like to have the luxury of time to do that instead of feel myself just in the cultural momentum tunnel of what was expected of me.
So brilliant.
And it was amazing.
I really want to make sure you heard that, like taking a year off to give herself the time and the space to hear the intuition, the wisdom of her body, rather than being in the cultural momentum of what she should be doing. Especially, you know, those markers of, oh, well, by 25, you should be by 30, 35, 40, who cares? But it's real.
It is real.
That's really, I mean, it's not real. We've created it together. So you were taking this time off, and
and basically all those things kind of led up to this moment where I started teaching Qoya classes, and I had this inkling that it was really, I'm like, I think this is it. I think this is the thing. You know, I feel it. And so I went on this pilgrimage to Peru, and the tradition there is when you pass, your body goes back to the earth from which it came, your spirit goes to the heavens, but all the wisdom that you've accumulated goes to the mountaintop. So the tradition in many mystical traditions is to hike mountains and get the message from the mountaintop. Yeah. So I hiked one of the sacred mountains, and just with so much purity in my heart, like in every step of the way, my intention was like, please just affirm, is this my sacred work? And when I got to the top, I just heard it really clearly. It's like the whole point of Qoya is to get people to feel that we live in sort of like a going through the motions, sometimes potentially numbed out, whether it's by busyness or other things. And when you can truly feel the truth in your body and let that guide you, it does. Yeah. And that, like your body brings you into this world and is the thing that when you leave ushers you out. But like, why do we feel like we can't trust our body every step of the way? And something you said really anchored that into me more than almost any other thing I've heard when we were speaking at Reveal with Megan. And you said, as you were pregnant, that, my I don't have to make a to-do list. Like today I'm going to make a liver and today I'm going to make an ear. Like my body just knows what to do. And so this idea, like it's amazing that we have our rational linear minds, but it's really amazing when we can partner them to be in service to our soul and in harmony with the messages we're getting in our body. Mm-hmm. So
Qoya is really, we've heard listen to your body before. And I think for a lot of people, that's very esoteric and like, what does that mean? The little car joining us in the background. This is the neighborhood filming of GlimpseTV. Pause. And like, what does that even mean? And what I love about Qoya and taking a Qoya class or going through the exercises in your book or doing some of your online videos is that it's actually a blueprint for listening to your body. And if you go through the exercises, if you take a class, if you do Qoya, you will hear from your body whatever, and it may come as a feeling, it may come as a word, it may come as a whatever, but it's like really that blueprint for how to listen to your body, which I don't know that, I mean, of course there's other things, but I don't know that I've ever found one, and I really have taken every certification you can imagine. I'm certified in yoga to teach Niya, to teach Intensati, to all aerobics, like you name it. And Qoya is the only one that I actually teach from time to time. So
I'm honored.
It really is spectacular. So in terms of the sacred work piece, so you went to the mountain and you heard this, and you were like, this is it. This has been what I've been journaling about and whatever. So for those who are in that 10-year space beforehand, like, oh, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's this, I find myself drawn to all these things, but I have no idea how I'm going to put them together. What's your advice if you're feeling lost in terms of your sacred work?
Exactly. And so the thing that I've noticed when I tell that story is like, it's not like everyone go to Peru or everyone climb a mountain. Yeah. The thing is, that's the message that I got. Right. Like that's the message that came very, very clearly to me. It's like, you need to go to Peru. And so
do you hear the messages, or is it like, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
How
does
it happen?
I mean, for me, it's really like a translation through a feeling in the body. Okay. So it's like a feeling, and then I think it's not necessarily like I literally, like I hear you talking to me, right? But it's a feeling that I translate into words to communicate. Got it. And because some people, they see images, some people, they hear things, and then being such a body person, it's more of a felt sense, and then translate words to it. Cool. But the thing that I always feel as like the most powerful advice is like from the very beginning, like listen to your body. Like, and so you can just go through, sometimes it's as simple as just making a list of all the things that you think are maybe the next step. Yeah. And so it's just, you make a list and then you go through and you read it and you notice, how does your body feel? And sometimes there's this thing when there's like this expansion and lightness, it's like maybe circle that. Yeah. And if there's this contraction and tightness, maybe cross that out. and then starting to really trust the body. Because the thing is, I've really found when it comes, like, you can't strategize your soul, and it doesn't give you like a 5 to 10.
You can't strategize your soul.
It doesn't give you like a 5, 10, 15-year plan. Like, that's just not the nature of it. But you absolutely, I believe with my whole heart, whole body, whole soul, that every person has access to feel in their bones what the next step is. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that everyone knows what the next step is. And it's in our language all the time. Like, I just had this gut feeling, or I feel it in my bones. Yeah. We actually trust our body all the time. You walk into a room and you're like, I don't know about that person.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's you're doing it all day.
Right.
We just don't always have like the language and the encouragement to continue doing it or to really honor the body as sacred.
Yeah, totally. I just, it's so helpful to hear you say, because I also don't have any doubt that everybody has access to this, but I just love the way you just said that. So if you're, for those listening, if you've had doubt that maybe you don't have that direct line to your body, you do too. And I want to also ask you just a little bit about the structure of the book for people who are considering diving in deeper with Qoya. It's a great option, certainly, if you've been a student of Qoya and you want to go deeper, but also if you've never heard of it before and you're like, this idea of embodiment and hearing the truth through my body sounds really good, because really it is, and you can create heaven on earth when you know how to do that. What did you say about with your experience reading The Alchemist?
When you follow your heart, the world conspires on your behalf.
See?
Yeah.
And you can do that through Qoya. And so how is it set up to guide the reader in experiencing embodiment?
So the setup of the book is really, there's these main tenets of following the physical sensation of truth in your body, doing your sacred work, following the call of your soul and being open to receive it once you go on that journey, living your life as prayer, and how you go out into the world in those directions, then how you go into your inner world to access your inner wisdom, creativity, sensuality, light, to remember that your essence as wise, wild, and free. So the book is really set up to tell the story of when I was closest to those things and the furthest away from them.
And just so you know, Rochelle's stories are unfreaking believable. Like, even if you don't care about Qoya, you just gotta read the book because her life is incredible. So, just had to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
like, best memoir ever.
Oh, thank you. There's lots of adventures and misadventures, and it's very humbling. And one of my favorite moments of the book writing process was actually reaching out to Kate, because I was just having such a hard time. I'm like, who wants to publish their inner life? Like, what was I thinking? And I told her all the things that I was grappling with, and she's like, you know what this sounds like? It's a really good book. She's like, it sounds like you really are being honest about, your experiences and what you feel, and that really inspired me to keep going. So thank you.
Yeah.
And the real thing that I'm passionate about is not so much just my story. I want to create a world where we all have space to share the truth of our own lives, because I think that's where the most progress happens, is in that honest, vulnerable space. But what I'm really passionate about is other people tapping into what's true for them. So after every chapter, with the tenet of the book, there's a movement to embody it, to keep gaining access to how you can feel the truth in your body, a ritual to honor it, so calling on all the different traditions that I've been studying with and ways to really sit with the sacred, and then a community exercise. So how do you stay in that place while you're interacting with others?
That's the tricky one.
And that's the thing I've really learned after I've led like 40 retreats, over the last couple years, and so many classes and workshops, and everyone tunes into this sacred container, and then they go home and it's like, and now what? And so the thing that I'm really passionate about is, become familiar with the space, and then, how do we stay in our center when we're with others, and also invite without attachment to how we can really relate in encouraging one another to do our sacred work, encouraging one another in our creativity, but really just opening up containers for more honest conversations.
Amazing.
And then lastly, to go on a pilgrimage. And for me, I'm really passionate about this because, like I said with Peru, I've always found travel as this metaphor, and the outer journey mirroring the inner journey. And so when you set an intention and go out into the world, like the first pilgrimage is to go to the place you were born and have your feet touch that ground. And so for a lot of people,
it's really
wow.
Wow.
And for me, when I did, the most amazing thing happened. And I've had a lot of my test readers go out and do this as well. And there's just like a reconciliation that just happens when you are willing to open yourself up to be in a conversation, a living conversation versus like in your head conversation, with the universe through pilgrimage. And there's a magical, energetic element that happens. And that's why all those exercises are there, to address all parts of the being. A lot of learning and knowledge is just mind to mind. But there are 4 different levels of perception in shamanic training. And so there's the physical body, and then there's the mind and emotions, and then there's the spirit, soul, and the energetic. So the body is movement, the ritual is mind and emotions, the community is spirit, soul, like the other person is you, and pilgrimage is that energetic, that is so possible when we're willing to dance with it.
Amazing. So, last 2 questions. What are you doing right now that you're scared of, but that you're doing anyway? Which I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Question,
because I kind of mentioned it. You know, it's interesting. Putting the book out there is one thing, but the thing that's a little bit more tender is finding that place of like where I want it to spread. You know, like actually saying, you know, like I want the book, I want to have a successful book launch, because I'm finding this like paradox of, you know, I wrote this because it was a soul assignment, and I didn't write it to be a best-selling book. I wrote it because I needed to look myself in the mirror and feel okay about myself, because I had heard such a clear message to have all the things that were living inside of me, to have them live outside of me. And so that tender place that I'm scared of is just saying, like, I really want it to be big enough so all the people that would be interested and feel a call to this message can find it.
Yes. Oh, that's such a beautiful intention. Thank you. And when do you feel the most free? Always
when I'm dancing. Yeah, when I'm dancing, it's just... Sometimes on an airplane as well, but more if I was dancing on an airplane, which happens ever so often. I'm sure. But that's the thing why I'm so passionate about the body, because it's amazing when I'm fully in the moment and fully in my body. And I'm so grateful to musicians and enchanted by the portal of possibility that happens when you listen. One of my really good friends, his name is Josh Brill, and he talks a lot about the mysticism of music. And he quotes one of his teachers, Robert Fripp, like, when we hear, H-E-A-R, we're here, H-E-R-E. It's like this thing that just happens where the music and the body and the moment all come together, and it spirals up into transcendent magic. And that's when I feel the most free, and when I feel the most like myself.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So where should people buy the book?
You can go to koya.love. Which I'm really excited about, because they just released the .love domains, awesome. And I'm really excited about that. It'll also be on Amazon, and
Go take a class if you can in your local area.
Yeah,
look it up. Check out the book. You're gonna love it. I love you.
I love you
so
too.
Much for coming on my show.
I'm so honored.